gentlemen, and those neither and in between. Welcome to our next panel, Unconventional and Adaptive Controllers in Gaming. I'm going to be your host, Melissa, or mcroft07, and my pronouns are she, her. I'll be your host today, and I would love our lovely panelists to introduce themselves because nobody's going to know them better than they know themselves.
Right, well, I'm Nico Hart. Let's quickly go to our introductions here. So, I'm Nico Hart. I go by he, him.
Oh, and I'm... Who am I again? Don't rage quit. She, her. Please, thank you.
Perfect. Right, shall we get immediately into the panel then?
Go for it.
Perfect, right. So, as we mentioned, this is Unconventional and Adaptive Controllers in Gaming. Just so you can know a little bit about our backgrounds. So, once again, I'm Nico Hart. I've discovered a love for unconventional gaming through the act of learning how to do alien isolation on a steering wheel, and that's how I got into speedrunning in the first place. From that point onwards, I was experimenting with loads of different controllers, like DJ decks, touch capacitive controllers, so I could play games with knives and forks, and just a wide variety of different controllers. And then at that point, again, doing loads of, oh God, you know what? I wish I brought my glasses. I can't even see the monitor. But yeah, so lots of content, lots of integration with like OBS tools and everything with the unconventional controllers, and also bringing in DJing to do video game music DJing as well.
Bless him, my mole companion here. And I'm Rach, or I go by Don't Rage Quit online, a name inspired by my love of From Software games. I play a lot of Dark Souls, Elden Ring. I am here this weekend instead of playing the Elden Ring DLC, guys. That is true love. That is true love. It's really good. It's so good. Alongside my love of Dark Souls, I also really love raising money for charity. All right. And one way I found very effective in doing that is using unconventional controllers. So I've played Dark Souls, Elden Ring using one hand, and my dog has completed Elden Ring using the dance mat. So it's really good. I'm hoping between the two of us, we're able to leave you inspired to bring unconventional controllers and adaptive controllers into your content.
Even I haven't completed Elden Ring, so I feel like that's safe.
Get on it.
Right, so this is going to be a lot of the points that we're going to be covering for today as well. So we're going to be starting with the main point of what is an unconventional or an adaptive controller. So an unconventional controller is a controller that can interact with a video game that isn't the standard gamepad or keyboard mouse combo. So we've got some examples here of what they look like. It's going to be, say, motion controls, for example. You've got MIDI keyboards or bananas. They can be for the up, down, left, right. You can program it to anything you want. There's loads of different ways that you can do it with different like custom-made controllers as well. The idea for just like instead of it just being a normal gamepad is going beyond what you can do.
Conversely, an adaptive controller is specifically designed for gamers with limited mobility, so not necessarily unconventional in how it works. It's got specific needs. So in terms of core functionality, it's a central hub that you then connect other assistive devices to, so like joysticks, buttons, switches, mounts, that sort of thing. Customizability. The beauty of adaptive controllers is their customizability because everyone's individual and unique, and everyone's needs is individual and unique. A popular example you can see on the left there, the Xbox adaptive controller, that's been out for a wee while. The Sony Access, I keep wanting to say PlayStation Access, does anyone watch that channel? Sony Access in the middle, that's a bit newer, but yeah, it does the same thing. And on the right, that's the Logitech G Adaptive Gaming Kit, big long name.
So there are so many different kinds of adaptive and unconventional controllers. And the prime example being my 6-month in development camera controller, which is a fully functional DSLR camera as a game controller, which takes photos whilst I'm gaming as well.
It's so cool.
And we have beaten Elden Ring on it, so there's no impossible way that you can play that game as well. As you mentioned as well with your dog, with the dance mat as well. And that's another unconventional controller. You have the most expensive controller in the world, the Steel Battalion controller. You've got like steering wheels, you've got foot pedals, and we are highlighting an adaptive controller there, which is the quad stick controller, which is mostly used for like within your face area, and it's easier for like people who may have like limited neck mobility. Right, with this as well, like anybody can make an unconventional controller. There are accessible and educational tools out there. This is the makey. You actually saw that technically with the banana controller. So you got little clips, put it into the bits, easy to learn coding, plug anything else into the clips, bananas, done. That's how you make an unconventional controller. It's so cool. And it's not just like that's the easy way of doing it. There's loads of hard ways of doing it. If you have a controller that can sync to your PC that looks like it could be a controller, you could remap it. You can use Joy2Key, which is a paid software. Free software, and then Rewaz, which is a paid software. Highly recommend just getting Rewaz. It's fantastic. You've got hardware controllers, so you can get these other controllers working to your consoles. So you've got the Titan 2, the Cronus Zen. If you want to connect a musical instrument with MIDI, you can get a USB to MIDI cable. They're cheap, like a couple of quid on Amazon. It's amazing. And there's some paid software that you can get as well, Boney MIDI Translator Pro, loads of different softwares. And if you are wanting to do it just like my camera controller, you can get microcontroller boards, which is like the Arduino and the Raspberry Pi.
I realise that's a lot of big words.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, yeah. But there's considerations anyway.
The only limit is your own creativity and patience.
Patience is a big one, yes.
6 months for that
Yeah,
camera.
it's a lot. Loads of coding. Oh,
So
God.
the considerations of using such controllers, why should you consider using unconventional or adaptive controllers in your content? Well, nowadays, it's not a secret. It's very, very hard to stand out in the sea of passionate, talented creators on this platform. So unconventional controllers is just one way that you can stand out from the crowd, turn heads, pique interest. It definitely works because that's how I became a fan of Nico. Promise you. Yeah, so basically you can look at commentary and analysis, community building. People want to rally behind you. They want to see you beat games with bananas because I saw some of you laughing. It's funny, it's fantastic, it's entertaining. The big one is social media promotion. So creating highlight reels and clips of your unconventional controllers is a really effective way of grabbing attention for people that are just casually browsing social media. Oh. Also, you can see Nico and Thor in the top corner there. They raced Hades 2 with steering wheels. It was the funniest
That was
thing.
fun. 4-1. I'm jealous.
That's the next slide. Oh,
Cool.
it's you.
After dropping my stuff, it's time to resume. So there are many different ways that like the social media premise can be shown. As you can see here, for example, like some of the tweets that have been posted, tweets, not X, anyway. They have been picked up by different platforms like GameSpot or Games Radar, for example. So you can see on the left is Dr. Decomposing, who plays most Soulsborne games with an electric saxophone. It's incredible. Being picked up by GameSpot to highlight their accomplishments. Myself doing Undertale on a steering wheel. Super challenging. Doing that very soon with an automaton. That's gonna suck. And then we got the legend that is Rudism, an amazing unconventional adaptive controller gamer playing Overwatch with a baguette.
Yes.
Wow.
Bread.
That's very impressive.
But there is the thing about it when it comes to more considerations of unconventional controllers is the learning curve. It is a lot to learn, there's a lot to do. Depending on the kind of controller that you are doing, it can take an immense amount of time. So you want to be able to know like just how much effort you can put into it. If it's going to be something that's worth your time, your investment, then there's also going to be like the compatibility issues. Like not all games are going to be able to support your unconventional or adaptive controllers. So you got to try to really look in and see if it'll work. Then the skill level of being able to use it in the game that you're doing it with, it's not just going to be plug and play like normal standard controller. You've actually got to like rewire your brain to think, okay, so this button goes to this and I have to attack at this time. Then it's also your immersion and precision. So if you're doing like a fast-paced shooter game, it's not going to be as easy as like using your mouse to like go exactly where you want. You have to like really aim your whole body sometimes. Maybe you're using VR. You have to like physically put yourself somewhere. So there's a lot of consideration for that side of things also. Right.
You're right. This is if you skip this.
Yep, that's the one.
Yeah, perfect. So ignore that. Similarly, with adaptive controllers, when you're considering, if you do have a disability or something that does prevent you from using conventional controllers, you're going to be an individual. You have to take into account your own individual needs and requirements. No one knows you like you do, like you said earlier. So you already know that part. That's easy. The learning curve, again, and the technical knowledge that you need to set this up, again, easy. You can get help with that so easily. And even the cost factor, as we will talk about at the end of this presentation, there's ways you can get help with that as well. Consider comfort, accessibility, and support, and always check with the manufacturers to see if there's extra support because they want you to be happy. They want you to be comfortable and happy. Overall, unconventional and adaptive controllers can be a great way to experience gaming in a new way or just to overcome limitations.
Absolutely.
Consider these factors and you can choose the controller that suits your needs and preferences.
Mm-hmm. So with that, we want to show you just some of the amazing gamers who play games with unconventional controllers. So we're going to talk to you a little bit, we're going to talk to you about what you're seeing so that you understand exactly what's going on. So let's check out the video then. Right, this is J-Rock the God. He's playing Cuphead, the final boss, with his feet. Look at the bottom right control, like this side of the screen, you can see he's using like a fight arcade stick. And straight away, like, able to one-shot the boss with the feet. It's amazing.
I struggled with my hands, man.
This is myself doing Undertale with cutlery. I mentioned it earlier on. This was a 13-hour endeavor. One HP left, by the way.
Still a win.
I just love the way I'm back and wearing a chef's hat as well.
Hey, this is my dog Evie, beating Melania. You've probably heard of her. With the help of a whole packet of chicken, my dog will do anything for chicken, including fighting Elden Ring's hardest bosses. This was an ordeal, sweating.
So good.
Okay, that's good.
Right, you've probably heard of Miss Mika, an amazing Soulsborne creator. They are currently doing 2 versions of Elden Ring simultaneously. One on controller, one on dance pad with their feet. So they're using their whole body basically in 2 different aspects to control and beat the game.
It's okay. It's okay. I wasn't paying attention to that one. Yes.
Wow.
The level of dexterity to use like 2 controllers at the same time is incredible.
What a brain.
Yay. Oh, let's go.
I just let it speak for itself. It's Rudism. He's playing with a frying pan. Watch this.
Get out of here. It's a fair fight.
Right, we mentioned Dr. Decomposing earlier on. This is his electric saxophone, and he's doing a no-hit run of Elden Ring.
So hard. Like,
I had to crank it down about 15 decibels. It was that loud. But it is no easy challenge. Like, it takes so much skill level to do it. This is our friend Formaganda. They are an amazing, amazing creator. Currently doing Sekiro, Shadow Slide twice with a steering wheel and beating the final boss.
Yes.
look at that death count, guys.
Yes. Right.
2,469.
Omae Shinderu.
It's such a classy way to end it, isn't it?
Oh, I love it. It makes me laugh every time. You know how many times I've seen this? Every time. Swinging back to disabilities in gaming, because it all goes hand in hand. My phone has scrolled up. Fantastic.
That's fine.
Right, so yes, disabilities in gaming is a growing area of focus, with more and more games putting more and more effort in to be accessible to everyone. Remember, disability doesn't have to limit your creativity. There's a lot of ways that an adaptive controller can help with this. So physical limitations, I guess, is the main one they can help with. So people who have difficulty using standard controllers for limited mobility, dexterity, or vision, these can be overcome with adaptive controllers thanks to remappable controls. Cognitive differences, so people who have challenges with processing speed, memory, or attention that can make fast-paced games difficult. Adaptive controllers can step in here too, because if a game has too many inputs to go in a normal controller, there you go, you never know, you can get around it. However, some games are still flat out inaccessible, so if they lack subtitles, colorblind modes, adjustable difficulty settings, I don't want to open that can of worms, they are exclusionary. And if they have no remapping as well, in today's day and age, actually, there's still some games you can't play on PC if you're left-handed. It's insane. We need more support from developers to give accessibility for, I've just realized I called left-handedness a disability. Cancel me. You know, let's overcome all limitations and not just the standard tropes.
Yeah.
I'm sure I don't need to explain the positive impact of gaming on people with disabilities, because it's just on all people, isn't it? We're all the same, really. Gaming provides social connection, so providing opportunities for socialization, to be part of a passionate community, such as yourselves in this room. But as far as adaptive controllers go, they level the playing field. They make everyone equal. Cognitive benefits, so helping to improve problem-solving skills, strategic thinking, hand-eye coordination, physical therapy, motor skills, dexterity. They're just fantastic, really. My phone is scrolled again. Sorry, I'm a bit nervous. I'm 5 months pregnant. I'm trying. Yeah. Oh, great example of a gamer who is overcoming these challenges. Yes, Mike the Quad, you were telling me about this. There's an interview on CNET. We haven't got it here today, but it's CNET. He's talking about his adaptive controller. It's really good. It's really interesting. If you
It's actually for the Xbox adaptive controller as well.
Oh, I
so
saw it,
it's
yes.
a very great watch. Highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Mike the Quad is amazing. Genuinely.
Yeah, check it out. Right, that's us there.
Right. So, not only, as you mentioned earlier on, that some organizations and companies will be able to give support. These organizations right here that we are listing right now are charities which will work with people with disabilities, being able to help them, again, level the playing field, being able to do something that they love. Able Gamers, Special Effect, two amazing organizations and charities who will work with people to give them just a little bit more normalcy in life. So if you haven't heard of them, please go check them out. They work to even make custom designed controllers for the individual person, which is just brilliant. Looking forward as well, there's a lot of things that we'd love to see from like not just the sense of controllers, but for game developers as well. So improved accessibility within game development is a big componentry. The gaming industry is constantly evolving, so we want to see more accessibility features in games, like just a lot more. Even for people who are in the indie development team, to really just like have their eyes open that, you know, everybody needs to game.
Even just remapping, like you say.
Just a simple remapping goes a long way, genuinely. We mentioned earlier on about VR and AR potential. This could have a very big integrator for people who may have like some neck mobility issues, that they can actually still use a visualized screen in front of their face, like to actually see more in-game material easier, and having that like immersive gaming experience, which can be really tailored to their needs. Outside of that is going to be increased awareness, which is why you're all here as well, to be informed about accessibility. As gaming grows in popularity, its audience becomes naturally more diverse, and it's the duty of game developers to create experiences that everyone can enjoy, regardless of capability. And adaptive controllers, sorry, I'm trying to read the last sentence here.
He's so blind, bless him.
Adaptive controllers need to become priority when considering how new games to play.
Let's go.
I tried.
Yeah.
Right. With that as well, that is going to be pretty much like all of the major stuff, but we have an interview from Stumpy Boy, one of your friends as well.
Shout out to Stumpy. He's amazing. I love him so much.
And we have Paige from Special Effects, who's going to be telling us about their role in Special Effects. So please enjoy these interviews.
Hi there, I'm Paige, Game and Community Manager for the UK charity Special Effect. We work to level the playing field for physically disabled people all across the world, whether that's access to their favourite video games, schooling, creating resources on motor accessibility for the games industry, and a lot more.
Hello everybody, I'm Stumpy Boy, also known as Grizz. I'm a Scottish variety Twitch streamer and all-round silly guy. I was born with a congenital birth defect, so I'm missing my left arm. So no monkey bars for me. However, I have been gaming my whole life. Pride myself on being able to adapt and figure out new ways to play all games. I enjoy trying lots of new things.
In my role, I run our social media channels, Discord, and large fundraising events like Game Blast, which occurs every February. I am physically disabled and immunocompromised, so I know firsthand how powerful gaming can be in finding community, having experiences I wouldn't normally get to have, and escapism. So getting to work with an incredible community of kind, passionate, and dedicated creators and streamers is brilliant.
So for me, my first big boost of confidence in PC gaming was when I first started using a mappable mouse, which had typically known as an MMO mouse, which has lots of buttons for the thumb. They usually require a lot of dexterity and use of lots of 10 fingers. That was my first big sort of jump where I realised, oh, I can actually play on a level playing field with people with two hands and fully able-bodied people and now better than them at those games. For a lot of single-player games on the PC, I usually switch to controller just because everything's a lot more compact and easier to press. But I definitely think that the bare minimum for all PC games is being able to map all controls and all keys to fit everybody's needs. It's a bare minimum accessibility issue. Problems that I've had with different controllers in the past, it's typically in your sort of motion control games as times went on. So I had a lot of problems with your Wiimote and Nunchuck games that required the Nunchuck to be plugged in. I remember playing all of Twilight Princess with the Nunchuck in between my feet and having to bend over and control the Link with that. I remember having problems with the Xbox Kinect. The mapping for that required to track full hands, so it would track my head, my right hand, and then the left hand on the avatar on the screen, the left hand would go crazy, which was funny but also just a glaring issue for the accessibility aspect. And also with Switch and handheld, I find it's a bit long, so I can't actually fully support the weight of the console and be able to sort of accurately control my character on the left hand side.
As time has gone on in the games industry, we've seen a rise in the visibility of disabled gamers and a rise in the accessibility of games. But software is only half the story. The other half is the hardware that's used to play. And seeing disabled gamers of all ages unable to access their favourite hobby, as their access to that hobby is limited, breaks my heart. When you're disabled, life can cost a lot more, from your medication to heating your home to transport costs, and a lot more. And we see this in accessibility as well, as an adaptive gaming setup will often cost a lot more than an off-the-shelf controller. That's one of the reasons why special effects support for the people that we help doesn't cost them anything at all.
I feel like that tends to be where they miss out, at least being able to remap controls, because PC gaming is in quite a good place where most games tend to have the option to remap and change controls. But I just think, modern console gaming definitely is missing the boat. If Mega Man X and Super Metroid could do it in the mid-90s, there's no excuse for even Nintendo now to be able to offer that as a solution. A sort of big one that definitely put me on a bit more of an even playing field, I ended up getting the Valve Index VR setup purely based on the design of the controller. The Valve Index controller has like a ring, which thankfully fit nicely over my arm. Obviously there's still lots of buttons on it, which is only the sad thing, but it meant I didn't have to hold sort of like the two pipes. It naturally became sort of an extension of my arm, which I could then operate with my hand while holding another controller. And it meant I was able to play VR games with friends, which was a really fun experience. I also thought that a really cool sort of gesture was, I can't remember who it was, but they developed a controller for the Joy-Cons, it's an attachment for the Joy-Cons shaped like a sort of L, where you could put both of the controllers onto it and then operate the Switch with one hand. More comfortable for me, I prefer still using the little mini controller, again because everything's nice and close together and compact, but I'm sure everyone else is different.
One of my favourite setups that Special Effects has ever created for somebody was for a young girl called Davina who has cerebral palsy. She wanted to be able to race against and beat her brother in racing games. So our team ended up creating a control scheme which utilised a large joystick, some button switches and 2-foot control switches which she likened to driving a car. The joy on her face when she realised that she could now be competitive, and then she told us that in her own words, meant the world.
Right, thank you to Paige and Stumpy Boy for giving their time to be interviewed, and thank you lots for watching the panel as well. We hope that you've been taking a lot of this information and being inspired by it as well. So we want to thank you all for coming here today and enjoying this panel with us. We are going to be taking some questions in a moment.
Yeah, absolutely. There's so many of you, and it means so much. I'm so glad you were interested. I hope you enjoyed.
So thank you, everyone, and thank you.
So I think we got time for just a couple of questions. And while you guys queue up for questions, I have a question. Controller drift, is that a problem? Is that a thing? Because I have a controller graveyard at home.
So depending on the kind of controller you're making, you're going to have like the most precision possible. So controller drift isn't necessarily a thing that will happen. Maybe it can happen over time as well, depending on what you're making. But ultimately, you're not really going to get it because it is your own custom-made controller. So in that sense, you don't have to be replacing every like 2 months.
That's really impressive. Okay, well, maybe I should consider it. But yeah, so if anybody does have any questions, feel free to come up to the microphone just here. Yeah, I think we've got time for just 2. Yep, perfect.
Hello. Can you
Hi.
hear me?
Hi.
I'm a game developer, so this has been very helpful. I want to thank you for opening my eyes how actually is. And my question is, how can a game developer actually help to the type of adaptive controllers to make it better for games? I already heard about remappable the buttons to change them, and that is, of course, that makes sense. But I wonder what else.
I mean, there are going to be courses on accessibility in game development as well, so it probably would be best to search around for already very extensive guides for that. Obviously, we've mentioned quite a few of the tropes for like the remappable, like text speed. You've got the adjustable difficulty.
Yeah, it's a big one, depending what sort of game you're making.
Yeah.
That's true.
There's like colorblind modes as well. There's like so many different things. So definitely have a look around on Google. There's loads of different advices and there's different courses. So it's a good way to go.
I played a game recently and it actually had the audio level, so you could see visually what the audio was like for people who were hard of hearing. And my stream found it really interesting because some people who watch my stream, I have closed captioning on there. But I thought that was actually something
Yeah,
that was a
absolutely.
good point as well.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of course. Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey.
Remove cost from the equation. If you could create any unconventional controller in the world, what would you create, regardless of
Oh
cost?
man, this
Why are you testing me?
is a great question. Oh, I want to play Dark Souls with a literal sword and shield. That'd be so cool. Oh, how cool would that be? You could you could rig that up with like a Wiimote or something.
Yeah.
You could, or like
If I could create a metal buster sword, I would love to do like a proper Final Fantasy like lore through experience.
with a new one.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
But that would cost a lot of money, like to
We're
make a
both,
proper
like,
metal one.
We're,
So
we're LARPers apparently, the both of us.
I did think you both went straight for swords.
So we're obviously thinking about it from in terms of like what's going to be a visual spectacle, what's going to make people laugh, or what's going to make people want to tune in. And I think definitely a big buster sword.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Or your bananas or your cutlery or that.
Yeah, knives, sword.
Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone who's joined us today. Now, our darling panelists have told me that if you do have any more questions, because we are short for time today, they are going to loiter around outside for the next 10, 15 minutes. So if you do have any extra questions, you can catch them then. Aside from that, have a fabulous TwitchCon and looking forward to seeing you guys around. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.